Welcome to Studio Sessions. I'm Will Donovan, and alongside,
I'm Julie Hamer.
and we're here to spark your creative journey and help you build the studio of your dreams. And each of these episodes, we're going to dive into expert tips, real talk, and actionable insights that support potters like you in launching and growing your own creative spaces. So let's fire up the kilns and let's get started.
And we're live. Welcome back to another episode of Studio Sessions. It's been a little bit, but this is our Christmas episode, as you can tell from our Christmas trees behind us. I'm here with Julie Hamer, and we're excited to chat about Christmas things today, how potters can prep for the holidays. Julie, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I am exhausted. I'm ready for Christmas. I'm ready for actual Christmas. And I am actually thinking about prep for next year already for me as a potter. What about you? How have you been?
The same. I feel like Christmas, the holidays are kind of like a grind where it is, we prep so much leading up to it and then we get to it and it's just like nose to the grindstone, get things done, make it through, make all the things, send them out, meet with family, every weekend and evening is packed, and then somehow, we'll take a deep breath and relax.
I think
And then-
that'll be in January sometime of next year where we take a deep breath and actually get to relax.
I think so. This year, I'm doing something different, which is I'm closing the studio in line with our kids' school schedule. So they get out on the 22nd, and they go back on the 5th, and I am taking that time as well. I'll probably still be working, but it won't be in the same cadence that I'm normally used to.
Yeah, I love that. I am also doing something different. I think it's like December 15th-ish that week, beginning of that week. I am turning off everything. I am turning off my Etsy. I will leave I can't turn off my website. I'll leave my website up, but I am not doing any more work for, just my studio stuff in general or orders or anything like that. I am going to if I'm going to be doing any pottery, it's going to be for me and it's going to be for my house and it's actually going to be for my stuff. But I'm just going to try and relax for once because I'm usually used to doing pottery and all these orders almost up till Christmas Day. Like I will be answering emails on Christmas Eve for people. And I'm like, I can't do this to myself. I got to be with my family and want to be more present. So yeah, I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna do the same thing.
That sounds good. You deserve that.
Thank you.
And
So
I think it's
do you.
important.
Yeah.
Thanks. I mean, as makers, I think it's really important to block out those times when we don't do anything because it's so easy as small business owners and creatives to just fill all the amounts of time if it's not spoken for with something else.
Yeah. And speaking of filling in all of the time, we have to think way ahead of time as artists for especially potters because of the timeline it takes for us to do our work, of how long ahead of time we need to make everything, start making everything. So there's this joke, of course, of like, oh, Christmas in July. But we actually will start doing Christmas in July, as early as July. We'll start making ornaments and doing everything else because that's how long it takes to prep sometime for Christmas. And I was so bad, I didn't really do that this year. I didn't prep. So I had a market this past weekend and I was sold out. I've never
That's
done
awesome.
that before. And then people were like, oh yeah, we love your work. And I'm like, that's awesome. And I was just selling stuff like crazy. And I came with 3 boxes and I left with like half a box.
That's really cool.
And I'm like, this is awesome, but also like, oh no, I have another market this coming Saturday. And thankfully I have stuff pre-made that I just haven't glazed. So today is going to be a glaze day. And that's
everybody's
great.
favorite day.
Yeah. But I'm just also like, hey guys, I can't make anything else because some people are like, oh, hey, can you have this like mug made by next week? And I'm like, no, I can't because that's a completely different thing, and then from like a small ornament that I might be able to pop in the kilns really quickly.
Yeah, you're right. It's a big deal when you sell out. It's wonderful, but then you also have that anxiety of, no, this was not my last thing of the year. How am I going to make these things? So congratulations, and also I'm sorry.
Yeah, good luck. So yeah, I will be loading up my kiln with whatever I have today, and we'll see how it goes. And I'm sure it'll be fine. I still have ornaments, and I still have mugs, and yeah, it'll be great. But I was talking to our friend Lisa, and she and I were like, Greg hanging out in my studio space the other day, and she was like, "Well, I feel like we need to start prepping for Christmas for next year way earlier than July." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I think so too." And she was like, "Well, let's put it on the calendar for March." So we're taking the first 2 weeks of March, and we're gonna hang out a couple days in my studio, and we are just gonna prep for Christmas for next year.
That's awesome. And I think, honestly, like in my notes as I was prepping for this episode, was the first thing is potters really underestimate how long it takes to prep for the holidays. Like sometimes it's months before you need to get started. And starting in March is a fantastic way to get ahead of it because not only is there so much that really needs to be done with Christmas or holiday prep, it's not just making the things, but it's photographing them well, coordinating website listings and market details. Like it's a lot more involved than just the creation. It's all of the other aspects. We started prepping for the holidays in July, maybe a little before. But our goal with we did a series of 4 or 5 different product line launches in July. Like it was boom, 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 boom. Every week was something new. And the idea was we're going to get insights from these launches to know what we're going to make more of or get product pictures, get reviews, get all of the things that we need to be able to have a successful holiday launch or holiday sale this time of year. So it was all the way back then we were thinking and prepping for it.
Yeah, and I feel like that's such an awesome thing to do. And even with you too, you really do such a beautiful job with your launches and with your photography and all of that planning out. So I definitely need help in that area, and I know other people might too. So what are some of the things that you do to prep, since we're on the Christmas topic, what are some of the things that you do to prep for like the holiday season? And what does your like daily, not even like daily, but even like just your process go through, like look like when you're prepping for everything?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Honestly, it starts way before the launch date. We have a calendar of things that we're going to create. So our studio does illustrations on mugs. So that's our primary item of sale. Though we'll do handcrafted things too. But we'll prep out the designs or the themes that we want to draw from in our product creation like months ahead of time. We prep all of the designs ahead of time. We think through the themes that we're going to pursue. And then we take those to social media and we put them out there as like soft little hooks. What are people going to respond to or engage with? So we'll do memes around those themes. For example, we did Jurassic Park, Studio Ghibli, Pride and Prejudice, and we did another one. Oh, like Jane Eyre. We did 2 British literatures in July. And there's a very broad spectrum of topics and themes there. But we did in July, all of us at once, and then each week we sent out memes, we sent out blogs, we sent out like all these little like soft pieces of different kinds of content to get an idea of what people responded well to and what people liked most. And then after those launches were done, after those sales were complete, we took all that data and used it to really hone in on the products that we're going to focus on for holidays, because we don't want to come into a busy Christmas season with like 50 things that we're trying to push and market. We want to have like 3 to 5 tops. Like these are the things that we're going to focus all of our effort and attention to get to the most amount of people.
Yeah.
So we'll plan ahead, test the market, gather feedback, and then we move on into setting up all of our like email campaigns. We've started doing text alerts this year, which if you can get text, like if you can start doing text. I
Yeah.
thought email was great. Text is ridiculous
How do you
as
do
far as getting people to click into your website.
how do you do text alerts? That's awesome. I was gonna say
It's
maybe me getting distracted a little bit by that, but it's like that sounds cool.
So the data behind text versus email is really interesting because we've run like a CRM, a customer resource manager, for a long time. So think of MailChimp, Klaviyo, like these different email systems. A lot of those have built-in text options too, though you may have to pay for them.
I had no
Our
idea.
email data, we would get like 40% open rates and maybe 1 to 2% click rates versus how many people from our email list saw it, clicked, and then an even smaller amount bought. With text, it was 80% seen rates and then like 20% click rates And then the amount of sales attributed to people buying from that link in their text was in so much greater than email. So if you're a potter or a maker and you're deciding how to approach marketing your products, consider text. Most of your software email systems have some kind of text integration. It takes a little bit to set up, not too much. It might cost a little bit to send out all this text, depending on how big your email list is or your subscriber list is, but definitely worth it.
Very cool. Yeah, I had no idea that even existed. So, like, I
I'm
mean,
sure you get
I mean,
texts.
like, for like, I get texts from random companies and stuff, but I didn't think about it like, I guess I didn't think about it in terms of like doing it for as a potter, like as
Yeah,
a yeah, like as a
it
small
feels
business. I'm like, duh, I guess that makes sense because I do get text messages even from like coffee shops and stuff like that. Like, oh hey, you got this many points for buying a coffee today.
mhm.
But I didn't think of it in terms of using it as a way of reaching my clients and customers and for sales for pottery. That's just so
Yeah.
genius. I love that.
I mean, it feels like some big corporate, like giant tool system that you'd have to
Yeah.
have, but it's really not. A lot of what you already probably use has the capability. You just have to log in and implement it.
Yeah. Every time I talk to you, I feel like I get such like I get excited to like, oh, I want to try all these things now. Like even just doing an email list. I don't do an email list because I was so focused on doing wholesale this year. I'm like, okay, well, I have like my 3 or 4 clients, and that was the majority of my income, and it's just me by myself in my studio. Like that's so much work already. And when I think about doing markets and stuff too, after doing wholesale this year, I think that's why my brain kind of was like, oh, I didn't really prep for the holidays because I've been so focused on, oh, I get an order for 100 mugs, I make those 100 mugs, and then they're gone. And I didn't really think about, oh, I need to save up, like hold on to like 50 mugs for myself to make
Sure.
to have to decorate or whatever, because I do something kind of similar where I make a certain shape of mug and then I can just decorate it however I want, depending what clients want. And I thought, oh, I need to do that. I need to prep. I need to do bisque prep, if anything. So
Well, I wouldn't feel bad because it all comes back to what are your goals. And if you have clients that you're servicing and you're happy and you're busy and you're full, then that's okay. You don't have to feel bad for not doing more things. But if any potter is ever at a point where they're kind of twiddling their thumbs and thinking, I wish I was busy right now, there are some things that you can set up that I think are really helpful to make holiday season more successful. Um, and this is why I think email lists are really important. If you're interested in some data, this year we relied on both text, email, and social media, organic, and paid advertising to get our news about our sales and launches out to the public. Paid advertising did okay. Organic social media did horribly, and email did fine, but text was good. It's interesting that relying solely on social media doesn't seem to be effective in communicating to your audience because, especially this time of year, there's just so much traffic. So many businesses are paying for ads that all of that feed space is taken up. And people are just so drowning in ads and promotions and this Black Friday 25% off, this holiday sale, X buy one, get one. And it almost feels like they're blind to anything new. So organic social media definitely seems to tank this time of year if you're doing promotional things. But that's why emails and text can be so important because you're reaching directly to the people who have said, I want to see your stuff, I want to know when it's coming out, and they get it right to their inbox or right to their phone.
I definitely love getting your emails because I'm like, ooh, what is Will up to? And I love seeing all your new launches and releases. And I love the Studio Ghibli. I mean, I'm wearing Calcifer right now. If anyone who's watching, don't watch while you drive. But if you see the
No, don't do
video,
that.
I have Calcifer print all over my sweater. And my kiln, I named it Calcifer. Very lovingly love my Calcifer. But yeah, I have my heart is a heavy burden mug. And I love it.
That makes me happy. I'm glad it makes you happy.
Makes me very happy. Actually, I was just thinking about it. I was like, why am I using one of my mugs when I could be using Calcifer? What's wrong with me? I'll switch to Calcifer today. But
There
I
we go.
always get nervous too because I'm like, I'm kind of like precariously on the edge of my table. And when I use one of your mugs, I'm like, oh no, what if I break it? And if I drop one of my mugs, I'm like, oh, I can remake that. So I think there's
Mhm.
a part of me too that's like, I don't use your mug outside of my actual like kitchen, living room, my living space. I don't bring it into the studio because this is a hard floor and I don't want to hurt it.
Yeah. So on this topic, I don't want to monopolize all of the conversation by any means. I would love to hear what you're prepping or how you've prepped for the holiday season. But on the topic of fear of breakage, can I share one thing that we as a studio tried this year that I think has gone pretty successfully?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this year we realized that a lot of people were really concerned about breakage, and to the point where it might prevent somebody from buying something that was more expensive like a mug because they might be afraid that they're going to break it. So what we've done is we started offering collection protection, which is essentially like a limited warranty on mugs. It's $12, but we'll, for that $12, guarantee a replacement. It's essentially oops protection. We ran the math, and if less than 20% of people within a 90-day period use it, then it's still a profitable way to offer like a service that you can still like make a little bit off of. And a lot of people are really happy about it. They're like, oh, $12, and then I don't have to have this looming anxiety if it ever breaks. They'll get we'll replace it. And that includes shipping. So it's per mug, we'll definitely lose a little bit of potential income. But in the grand scope of things, it's already been not a small revenue driver, and we've had to replace 2 or 3 mugs so far.
That's bad at all. Yeah, I think I'd
So
be
it's
devastated if I dropped my calcifer mug. So I'm just like, take my money, Will.
it's relatively new. I don't know if we had it when you got your calcifer mug, but it's something we're definitely trying out. And so far seems to be a successful way to not only encourage that initial sale of like getting people to say, oh, okay, I'll buy that. So we're easing tension or easing fear right at the initial sale. And then we're also making people happy after it breaks and like, oh, we have to replace it. They seem to be really thrilled that they have that option. So it seems to be a sales tactic, not to be sleazy, but also a customer service.
I feel like that's such a
Win-win.
wonderful customer service thing to do, though. It really is. Because from a potter's aspect, when you think of how I've broken things before, I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
That
Oh yeah.
hurts. It stings,
does.
especially when you're
Mhm.
just, man, like I've had this for so many years, and in your brain, you're like, yeah, I could remake it, but like people who buy that, they don't have that option. They can be like, whoops, I dropped something, I can remake it. So if I dropped one of my mugs and had the option to be able to reach out to the potter and be like, hey, I just broke this and I need to use that insurance policy, yeah, absolutely. $12 is nothing. I love that.
And it might change depending on how intricate your work is or how it maths out for how
Right.
you
Yeah.
as a creator create. But it's something to consider. It's definitely not something that I've seen other pottery studios offer. Most of the time, the most that I've seen is if somebody breaks a piece, they might offer 10 or 15% as like I'm really sorry that happened. Here's a little discount. But this is just something that we're trying as a studio to like reduce that fear at purchase, to kind of lower that threshold of somebody's willingness to make the buy. And then also, how can we support our collectors after they already have purchased?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was one.
I did have, I think like 2 or 3 clients who reached out to me because I still make dog bowls, and they were like, "Oh no, I dropped my dog bowl in the sink on top of something else and like cracked it,
Yeah.
hard
That's the
dropped
worst.
it, or whatever."
Yeah.
And then someone else was like, "Yeah, my husband knocked it off the counter." Like I heard a few stories, and then I was like, I offered them either free shipping or like a discount if they had already replaced. Or like bought a new one, and then I just went ahead and like refunded them a certain amount, and they were just so ecstatic about it. And I was like, yeah, because I feel bad. I've broken things before
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Well, I'm like, I get it. So I
It
really,
is the worst.
it is. It really is. I think it is, yeah. So yeah, but going on because I love that idea too. And like, what a Christmas gift too, if that happens, and then you just be like, oh yeah, I can just replace it, replace it
Yeah.
easily.
If
So
you're giving it somebody and they open it up and they're like, oh, a handmade mug, and then the person says, plus, if you ever drop it, you can replace it for free. Just let them know.
Exactly.
Yeah, then it's even like it's like a 2-time gift.
I love that. Yes. I feel like that's such a good way to prep and think ahead of things. And since we're on the topic of like thinking ahead and prepping and everything, um, so there's just so many things that I've, you know, I've never thought of like that. Like I was just like, oh, I would never thought of offering like a breakage insurance clause in my work or anything like that. I mean, even prepping ahead with email lists and everything. But for us too, especially you on like a much larger scale, because you have amazing people who work for you, and then kind of, I don't want to say like a step down, you have people who work for themselves, like just by
Yeah.
themselves,
Oh yeah.
because
Yeah.
like I work by myself in my studio and know a lot of
Absolutely.
the people that do too. So a lot of the stuff that we're like, oh man, that's such a great idea and I want to do this and implement it. But it
Mm-hmm.
can also seem daunting and
Yeah.
a little overwhelming. And I'm one of those people too that are just like, I think of all these ideas and then I get the overwhelming thing of just like freeze, like,
Yeah.
oh no, I have so many
There's
things that I
so
want
much
to
to do.
do. So I
Yeah.
think taking it a small scale at a time, one of my goals, I would actually have it in my calendar, is going to be not only doing more posts and more videos, but I would like to do even like a quarterly email where I'm just like, hey, this is what my stuff is going to look like for spring and what my work is going to look like for summer and then fall and then winter. And then I'm not pushing myself to do an email every single month, but even like an email every month, I don't feel like is would that be that daunting. But as someone who's doing so much work already, setting small goals for yourself, I think will take off a lot of the weight of the overwhelming. And then if you can do more, great. But one of the things too that I was talking to, my pottery friends about is like, okay, well, if we prep ahead of time with doing like ornaments and doing mugs and then we glaze everything when we have our lull, like we talk about when is our most quiet times for us in the studio space. And I found that mine is usually like February and March. So I'm like, okay, well, that's usually my prep time anyway for doing wholesale. And that's what I did this past year and it worked great. So that's going to be my prep time too for doing Christmas stuff. And then I can make everything, glaze everything, pack it all up, label the box, and then put it away. And I don't have to look at it or worry about it.
That's such a smart way to go about it. Because then when the holidays roll around, you're like, oh, let me just grab from inventory.
And on top of that too, I'm going to line everything up on my tables, take pictures of it, and then make a little album that says, work for December 2026.
Yeah. That's really cool.
However, I remember to label it and then write that down somewhere.
Just leave your Christmas tree up through March, and then when you get to that picture taking point, to use that in your staged pictures, and then it's already ready.
Yeah, I was just saying we were talking about Christmas trees too because we have our Christmas trees behind us, and I was like, I have this great idea for Clay King actually, but I kind of want to do it for myself too. But I mean, I was just like, I have this idea. So how in Halloween backstory, how I did like the pumpkin, I carved my pumpkin to look like a kiln.
Yes.
So I took wire and I wrapped it around a dowel rod and I stretched out and I got like an orange tube light and put it through, and then when I turned it on, it looked like glowing elements.
Yes.
What if I did that all the way around a Christmas tree? So it looks like elements all the way around a Christmas tree, and then take tools and stuff and put pretty ribbon around them and hang them on the tree.
That sounds pretty cool.
I was just like, that's what I want to do for my Christmas tree.
Potter's tree.
Like, a potter's tree, and then you can like put bags of clay underneath them, label them. You want to
Yeah.
label your bags of
Ooh.
clay, guys. Don't be like me where I just found like 15 bags of clay in my studio unlabeled. So that was a trip.
You do the taste test.
I was able to figure out all but like 2, and I was like, you know what? These 2 are catch pans. Because I'm like, they had like cone 5, 6, and the other one had cone like 7, 10. And I'm like, you guys are now catch pans because I don't know what you are.
You don't know your clay by taste? You can't just nibble it and go like,
yeah,
oh, that's
well,
Sloper's glory.
it's not silicosis if it's ingested, right?
Right.
Don't eat clay, guys. Full disclaimer. No, I was able to I was able to just open it up, look at it, go, I'm 90% sure, like almost like not even 99% sure what this is. But at the same time, I'm like, but I don't 100% know what you are because I only have like 2 clay bodies in my studio that are cone 10, and I have receipts, emails. So I'm like, I think I know what you are, but I'm gonna test you. I'm gonna test it anyway, obviously. But then I was like, I know what you are, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm probably just gonna use you as a crystalline catch pan at this point. So, because why not?
There we go.
But yeah, I think that would be a fun Potter's tree. Like, what a fun gift! Because I'm like, if I had a, you know, significant other or whatever was a Potter that was, and I would be like, oh, I could decorate a whole tree for Christmas with like new tools and bags of clay and like wrapped up in ribbon and everything under a tree, and that would be my like, here's your Christmas, just
That would be
everything.
really nice. I don't think Clay King has a tree in their studio, but if they did, I would want to do that as well. Maybe next year.
Like they need to display their all of the tools and everything on the tree.
They
Like
do.
this gift and this one, and then you could put gift cards on the tree. And
Oh wait, I'm the marketing person. This is my job.
this is why I'm telling you. Come
Oh,
on,
thank
Oris.
you. Okay, I'm following now. I'm following
What are
now.
you talking about? I'm gonna come help you decorate this tree.
Okay,
Okay, I'm gonna
just have to
do
get a
all the
tree.
wire, and we're gonna wrap it all. It's gonna be great.
Perfect.
But yeah,
All
next
right,
year.
you're on the hook.
Yeah,
Next
I'm on
year.
the hook next year. And then we could do the you can do the 12 days of Christmas. You can be on the first day
Ooh.
of Christmas. My true love gave to me a gift card to Clay King or whatever, and then you do the 12 days.
Mayor.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have Mike sing everything or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just sign him up for the singing.
5 golden lusters.
Like $1 million right there. World's most expensive gift.
But to your point earlier
Yeah.
on makers like doing things to their own capacity, I think you're absolutely right. There's so much that could possibly be done in the world of marketing and making that it is never ending, and it's so likely to end up in that frozen space of there's so much to do, I don't know what to do. I'm not going to do anything except what I know. But there are also ways to approach kind of growth in a systematic mindset. One of the things we've tried in our studio this year is create as many internal systems as possible that like cut out all of that like friction of not knowing what to do. So for every drop, we know we want meme carousels mixed with mug product photos. We know when the mug comes out of the kiln, we're going to set it here, we're going to take the picture. And it's just these, like we have this system of doing things that reduces the internal, like, I don't know what to do thought,
Yeah.
because we've thought through, like within our capacity, there's still so much that like we can't approach, even with, and just for everybody listening, I have really 1.25 studio assistants that help in the studio throughout the year. So it's not like we're a huge, massive team, but it's things that we can approach, and we know these are the steps, these are the things we'll accomplish, and we'll just do our best within those categories. Before every launch, we'll pre-write like 2 to 3 emails, 2 to go out ahead of time, 1 as a follow-up after the launch. We know we need our staged product pictures, so we'll set up a little scene when we know we're getting new products, and as each one comes out of the kiln, we'll set it, snap a picture, take it aside. So there's things that you can do. Templates are really nice. Like think of these systems as like a template of processes, or a template of, I have this email template, I know I'm going to put a paragraph here, 2 pictures here, and a link here. And then you just change it out for each drop. There's things that you can do that make these stages less anxiety inducing and more of a process oriented, just like step by step.
Yeah. Like when you said, "Oh, when I take the mug out of the kiln, I know exactly where I'm gonna put it for photos." Like, I don't even do that. Like I'm like, "Oh man," I'm like, "Where am I gonna put it?" I'm like, that's having a template, having a predetermined, I know what to do with the photo, I know what I'm doing with my email, and I can just kind of plug in what I need to plug in and do that is sounds just so like much more like a load off of my mind. Even
It really
hearing that,
is.
I'm like, oh yeah, a template.
Well, if you can just think ahead, or start from the end process of, I'm going to ship this piece to a customer, and then mark it fulfilled and be done. And then step backwards of all of the things that you know are absolutely necessary. Not wants, not would be nices, but what's absolutely necessary to get to that fulfillment point. Is it having boxes in this orientation so that I can pack and ship efficiently? Is it having a process of where I'm going to put finished mugs or finished products after they come out of the kiln to get ready for that shipping step? Do I need product listings that include good pictures, lifestyle photos of them in use, and a hero shot of the mug? Okay, well then I have a photo station that I know this is where I'm going to set that scene when things come out of the kiln. Like just these little spheres of this is the process that needs to happen, this is what happens in that sphere, and then I move on to the next step. So
It's just kind of like when you prep for making work. Like you're like, oh, I'm going to make this many mugs in this size. So you set up your wheel, you set up like, your measuring tools and everything, but then you also like have your balls of clay already prepped.
yeah, it's the same thing for making that you're doing for creation. It's just the same process in marketing and fulfillment.
I love it.
It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be this, like, I know that can
It's not
sound
going to be
complex.
daunting,
It doesn't have to be daunting. It can
It's
be
not
as
gonna be
simple as, I know I want one picture of this thing that I've created after it comes out of the kiln. I'm going to take one picture, I'm going to make one social post, I'm going to send one email, and then I'm going to put it on my website. It can be as simple as that. Like I said, it's just what is absolutely necessary. And then if you have extra time, think through the would-be nices.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like that. I really like what are maybe even like the top 3 things that I want to do. And definitely images, posting on like your social media, and then getting the email out. I feel
Well,
like even
I
just
think that's,
if you're going to start, I mean, if like for
Yeah.
for a lot of potters too that are just like, oh man, I haven't even started thinking about this process, just like a few small things, and then
I think maybe that's a good thing that we could think through. Like, for potters, what are the top 3 to 5 things that need to happen after you make a piece?
yes, absolutely.
We've got pictures
Pictures.
and media.
Yeah.
We have social, post, advertising, marketing between social media and email, and website listing if you have a website and you're trying to sell online, and then packing and fulfillment. So those are the spheres of stuff needs to be done, and you just make your own little system inside those processes. That makes it easy.
It's perfect because I feel like I know what size of balls of clay I need to make to throw this piece, and then I can already imagine what boxes I can make and line all up already, like ready to go. But then my brain is like, but the in between, you need to actually be really good at taking pictures and how you're doing a setup and everything. So, yeah, I love it. And I think too, like, because I know there are always a lot of new potters, every year everyone's like, I'm going to try pottery, and then I talked to a few people. I actually talked to 2 different potters who are like, well, I used to do a lot of pottery and then I stopped, but I'm getting back into it. And they're like looking at art market stuff. And this was like 2 different conversations in the same day. And they were like, but I would really like to do a market, but I don't know where to start. And that made me think about that too in terms of holiday prep. I'm like, man, I started applying for markets back in August
Yeah.
because that's when they start planning for December.
Right. Those coordinators are setting up early. Do you have resources for potters to find events in their community or their neighborhood where they could apply? Do you know, is there places for that you know of?
Usually just will type into Google like markets coming up in my area in, what I did for 2025. And then it actually came up with different events. And I'm like, oh, here's all the things, like anything that was online that were like, oh, we're prepping for December, had like, I could go to their page and then would be like, hey, this date and time in the September or whatever is when we're going to be posting. Like, you have 2 weeks to apply to this market that's coming up in December. So I would write that down on my calendar and try to make
Sure.
goals for myself to apply for it. So it was really just doing a lot of my own research. But now that we have our Discord too, that's something I want to do. Is I'd love to be able to create and this is something I've done for myself too, is I created like a Google Sheets of markets that I want to
that's
apply
nice.
for and markets that I've done. And it's like, well, here's the name of it, here's the website, here's all the information of when I need to apply by, and yes or no, I got in, and that was just for myself so I could keep track of everything. And I do that for not only markets, but also art shows. So I could start, I'd like to apply to a few art shows each year as well.
That's really smart. I wonder too if somebody could Google like holiday events, holiday fairs, or markets the last year, like the year before. Like if they
Yes.
were prepping for future events and wondering what markets do I need to apply for. Looking back at listings from the previous year, you might be able to find coordinator information that you could reach out to and kind of get your name down for the next one.
Well, that's what I did in January this year for,
Smart.
uh, I was like, what was in 2024? And that's when I made that list. So I could
Mm,
know what to apply for. And then I could also look at, okay, how much stuff do I actually have done? How much of this is actually feasible? Like, what have you? And it wasn't or it wasn't even just like holiday markets. A lot of them too were like, oh, we're going to be continuously doing markets throughout the year. So I'm like, oh yeah, I could do markets. If I want to do a market once a month or at least like a few times in the spring or summer. So, um,
How do you approach markets? Are you more selective on what you spend your time applying for or attending, or are you let's do everything and then hone back
I
what
think
works and what doesn't?
a couple years ago, I was like, I'm going to try all of these different markets. And I tried at least 5 or 6 different markets throughout the year. And then I narrowed it down to just 2 different markets that worked really well for me in my area and also what worked well for my work and my clients. And this year I did a few like spring, summer markets, but then I was like, you know what? I'm only going to do one market in December, like one market in terms of like I'm doing the Swamp Rabbit market, their holiday flea, and I'm doing that. I did that. I'm doing that twice
Perfect.
because I wholesale with them. So that's where a lot of people were like, "Oh, I know you, and I collect your mugs." And I was like, "I think it's so sweet. I love it. It's like so cute." But I'm just so grateful for that, and I do really really well in those markets. So I'm like, well, I'm going to put my time and energy into these markets because of I go and kind of like not only with how well my work does, but then I also pay attention to how good is the communication.
Let's be honest. For potters, studio time is precious. You don't want to waste it fighting difficult tools or materials. That's why so many potters I know stick with Speedball, myself included. Their gear is made to last and made to work. Whether that's the tools that actually make throwing accessible, their array of pottery wheels for artists at every level, a fresh set of bats, or a glaze that actually fires to the color on the label. The easiest way to get everything Speedball makes? Visit ClayKing.com. Clay King stocks the entire catalog, keeps pricing fair, and ships fast. And I mean fast. So stop hunting all over. You can get what you need all in one place and get back to throwing. Visit ClayKing.com today to see Speedball's full range and give yourself more time to create.
But yeah, what I like to do is basically just weigh out the pros and cons of the different markets. And you never know until you actually do them and you try them, right? What's going to work for you, what you prefer. But I really look at it in terms of what is the communication like and how was the setup and how was this the general feel of the market? Because sometimes I've done a market before and I've just been like, I'm never doing this market again because it was just chaos. Times when I've done this market and I was like, okay, I can't wait to do this market again. Like this was so great. And I did really, even if I didn't do too terribly well, like I'm still just like the feel of the market was really great. And I know that I can kind of prep for that and everything. But yeah, when I started doing like the Swamp Rabbit markets, it hit every box where it was just like communication was great, setup was great, I had fun, I was checked on. Um, and I feel like that's such a big thing too when you're standing at a market by yourself for
Yes.
hours. You get people come by and check on you. I got free coffee,
Mm.
they give you the cards for the free drip coffee, which is so good. And then yeah, I just like had such a wonderful time selling and seeing so many wonderful people and hearing great stories from people going, "Oh, I collect your mugs." And like I had one lady that came by and go, "Oh, this is my 10th mug of yours." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, great. Thank you." Like that just it's such an honor to have people who collect your work too, right?
It really is.
Because I mean I have so many of your mugs, Will. I'm a huge fan. So yeah. But I'm like the it's just I think when in terms of markets, it's of course you have to think about how well you do, if I'm being honest. You have to make a profit. So you can't just be like, "Oh, this market's held great, but I didn't make even my like time back or whatever. So I try to set a goal for myself of making at least $500 a market
Okay.
minimum. But that's been over the years of where I'm like bare minimum where I'll go for a market. But I think like, I don't want to say don't set your goals too high when you're first doing markets. I think the first like year of doing markets, try a little bit of everything, prep for that, right? And then once you do your markets, you can also, I keep like a little notebook of like what sells really well. So, for example, too, I was like, oh, my certain type of mug sold really well with a certain design on it or a certain glaze on it. So I'll write that down and be like, keep track of that. Or last year I was like, what sold really well were my chicken ornaments because I do these little chicken ornaments, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
like this.
oh, I just made 20 of those last week for this week. And I'm like, because I mean, I had a few people who were going, where are the chicken ornaments? And I was just like, that's a good question. Where are the chicken ornaments? And I'm like, Julie, you forgot chicken ornaments with how well
How
they do.
could you?
How could I? And I was like, oh, it's not December yet. I don't need to glaze these. Like, yeah. So I'm like, I got home and I glazed some chicken ornaments.
Good.
So I think
As you
it's
should.
really, I mean, I don't know how other people do, but they usually have like a set amount of things like of what they make for markets and then do things in different colors. But I won't go in with an idea of like it's I do and I don't. I don't go in with like, oh, I'm gonna cater to this specific market or anything like that. But I do leave flexibility in my work to where I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a mug and it's springtime. I'm going to do something with more florals on it, but light colors and yellows and light blues or something. But then the winter time, I'll do more greens and things I know will do well for the holidays. So,
It's fair.
but then
I'm
I also
curious.
consistent work too, because people will look for very specific things.
Yeah, you're right, they do. I'm curious, as you're talking about markets, what are your red flags for what tells you a market isn't worth pursuing?
Think two things: location, because if I know that I'm not going to get a lot of traffic at that market, then I don't want to do it.
It's fair.
And that location can also coexist with other events going on. Like I'll try to avoid doing markets during something like Artisphere because I
Like
know
a
a ton of people are going to be at Artisphere that weekend. So why am
mm,
I doing a market during Artisphere, which I did one year? Just like quiet, just
that's fair.
completely
So like
quiet.
if there's another big widely publicized thing happening nearby, don't
Yes,
go to a market within the vicinity that's smaller.
exactly. And I think my other red flag is little to no communication from the coordinators because I've done markets before where I'm reaching out to them going, okay, it's 2 days before the market. I have no idea where I'm going, what time I'm supposed to set up, where my area is to put my 10 by 10 tent. Whereas there are other places who are like, email you 2 weeks ahead of time, a week ahead of time, and be like, okay, here's your specific location. You get a number or a letter in this area. Here's the map, and they'll highlight it for you. And then they'll have all these images of social media stuff you can use. Such a huge difference. So,
Yeah, I think those are really good red flags to watch out for. Location and timing of event and coordination and communication. I think those are huge. Even if, like, all the other things aside, if those things are well done at the beginning, then you're so much more likely to have a at least enjoyable experience, if not profitable one.
because if you're not stressed out beforehand, too, in terms of where am I going, what am I doing, am I setting
Yeah,
up? And what's nice too is a lot of those people that coordinate really well are also like, we're keeping an eye on the weather. So if it rains, we're gonna reschedule, and here's our rain date, and you'll know exactly when your scheduled next time is going to be, and if you can make it or anything like that. So, or they usually offer if they have multiple markets during the weekends, they can be like, we can switch out with other people with what works better. So.
that's really smart.
What about you? Do you have any red flags for markets?
Honestly, mine are really similar to that. Red flags, I try not to do things on their first year. I don't like to be the guinea pig unless I know the coordinator has done things ahead of time and they have a lot of momentum or experience, because that can make or break an experience. As if the coordinator is trying to figure things out then the vendor experience is probably going to be less great. And the public might not know about a new event, and so the turnout's going to be less. So I try to avoid first year events. At this stage, I'm not a big traveler. I'm not going to travel to do a large event. We've done so many online web drops that have so greatly surpassed anything that we've done in person that just the cost of going to a new city or going out of town, getting a hotel room, staying multiple days, it's not appealing. So, but that's just where I am. Our online drops have so far surpassed physical sales that unless the market is convenient and well thought out, and it's going to, there's some other, this is the other thing I look for. It's not just about how much will we sell. Is there some other connection, is there some other benefit that's being made in tandem with physical product sales? Like, are we showing up for a community of people that are huge collectors, and I know that they're going to be coming because, like, not because, but like there's already a relationship formed with the people who are coming to this event. So we're forming relationships, serving our customers and collectors. It's not just about making the sale, but it's about some other like really valuable thing. I think that's an ease of load in, load out.
Yes.
I've been a part of markets before where the vendor load in is like a quarter of a mile, maybe not that drastic, but really far away from the tent site. And potters, man, I'm so jealous of like jewelers and like painters coming in with their little totes that weigh like 4 pounds. My totes weigh like 75 plus. I've got those, you know them, the yellow lidded black totes.
Yeah.
The big ones, and they're chock full of pots, and each one weighs like 75 pounds. And you gotta cart it over, and you're walking through grass, and then you gotta set up your tent, and you gotta carry it out. It's just.
And then even if you have a cart, you just like over a curb, and then you're just like dragging everything. And then even as an other, artist, media artist, though, you just like you're still dragging your tables and your tent and everything halfway
8
across
trips
the football
back and
field.
forth. No, I won't do it. Maybe I'm high maintenance now.
Swamp Rabbit, as I pulled up, and they're like, "Oh, you're right here in the front." So I just had to back my truck up, unload everything, and then. Yeah, and then she was like, "Oh, I'll watch your stuff. You're good." And I was like, "This is great."
That's so nice. My all-time favorite markets, one of the still reasons why I love doing them so much, is the downtown farmers market in Greenville. They set up the tents for all of the vendors ahead of time, and you literally pull up in front of your tent, unload your stuff, go park, and everything's already done. So it's like,
I have
only have to set up a
dogs
tent.
like shaking over here. I did have one market where it was so great. They made it so your parking spot, like you pulled up to, like they had like the line of where your tents were going to be, and then you could park right behind where your tent was.
Nice.
So my truck was right there. So I'm like, I could put my tailgate down and like into my truck was right there. It was literally in this parking lot. And they set it up just so your car, your whatever, your vehicle could be right there next to your tent. And I'm like, this is genius. That was my favorite setup.
Yeah, convenience. That's what I look for in a market.
And I was like, I don't want to get there at 7 a.m. to unload everything and set up when the market doesn't start till 10. Because sometimes they'll have that small window of like, oh, you can set up between like 7 a.m. and 8 a.m., but then the market doesn't start until 10. And I'm like, well, I want to be able to get there at 9.
Yeah.
And be right next to my spot and conveniently unload and set up everything and then move my vehicle and then come back and sit down right before the event starts. So.
Absolutely.
But I'm also a procrastinator, so.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all? I mean, no. I mean, like, I wouldn't start Christmas stuff on December 1st. What are you talking about? I totally did.
Okay. I know we're coming up on our time, but if there's one thing that I've been curious about this year, as I've noticed, in relation to holiday making, sales, Christmas for makers, the difference between launches and discounts, like how we approach marketing our sales throughout the year. this is just my personal experience, but I found it's so like fresh that I wanted to convey it to anybody who might be listening. It seems, from what I've experienced and what I've talked to other potters, people are less inclined to be interested in a discount for handmade work as they are for new or limited release work. I don't know if you have any experience within that realm.
Yeah.
A little bit of backstory. On November 1st, we launched a new product themed for the Edmund Fitzgerald shipwreck maritime disaster. And it was a new product, like we didn't discount anything. We said, here's limited edition, we're only making 100. And there wasn't a nary a one left after we were done. But for our holiday like sale, like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we did 25% off, thinking that that's a really attractive offer. And it wasn't but like a fraction of what we've done versus all of our launches throughout the year. And so I'm just thinking through the implications of the difference between like a holiday release of new things or holiday discounts and seeing what could possibly work better.
I definitely noticed that sales did next to nothing when I did like my wholesale, even for example. People were reaching out to me going, I went to go get a peach mug because I did these like hand painted little peaches on my mugs that came out, and I just love them, and they sold out in 3 days. And people were begging me to make more. People were reaching out to me going, I wanted to get another one, or I saw them and they came back and they were gone. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm already moving on to like fall. Like I've
Yeah.
already been requested to make fall mugs. Like you don't have the capacity to make. Well, and I'm just like, wow, I'm going to have to prep for that for next year.
Yeah.
Yes, I noticed that with releases of things, especially the wonderful lady who came by and said I have like 10 of, and this is my 10th mug, which again, I'm so grateful for. It just made me realize that she wants to collect all the different types that I have and use them throughout the, and it's just like something that I have to think about when I'm prepping for next year, especially. So, but yeah, I did notice that the limited edition, so to speak, or different types that I've done, or seasonal. I'll say for me, really seasonal things that I've done, do much better than me saying like, oh, I'm doing a discounted sale this week because of this thing or whatever. So yeah.
Interesting. I don't have a ton of comments yet on it, but if anybody who's listening has an experience versus of launch versus sale, I'd be curious to hear your hot takes.
Yeah. Well, just for recap, prepping for Christmas, whether you're new to the pottery scene and thinking about doing art markets or anything, or prepping for holidays, start early.
2020
Early
now.
starts now, guys. Right now. No, but really, even if you have leftover Christmas stuff, mark it, put it in a box, write down what did well, and start prep. Just do throughout the year. If you're just like, man, I'm having a lull this week. No, you're making ornaments this week. That's what you're doing. What are you talking about? But yeah, prep for things like that. Doing something like having working on a specific shaped mug or item, and you're like, oh, I can decorate this to do seasonal things or whatever. Have that in mind to make it easier. Doing pictures of your work, posting on social media. Think about those emails, guys. And
Text messages.
That's where it's at. Thank you, Will. We're going to do that too. And yeah, really just prepping ahead of time. Try and do some markets, feel it out, see what you think, and just from start to finish. Yeah. And write down, take notes as much as you can.
That's really
That's
helpful.
definitely what I recommend. So, but
Well, Julie, this has been wonderful. I'm glad that we had the chance to connect and do another podcast. I feel like it's been a little while. We'll try to make them more frequent coming up over the holidays and into 2026. But if we don't catch our listener, if you listening to this wherever you are, if we don't catch you again before next year, I hope you have a very happy Christmas, happy holidays, and thanks so much for listening. And if you want to find more of our work, you can catch us at Donovan Pottery or Busy Daydreams.
yes. And thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. Happy holidays. Take care of yourself. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for listening in on this episode of Studio Sessions, a pottery podcast. Please follow us on Instagram, where you can find Will under Donovan Pottery and myself, Julie, under Busy Daydreams Pottery. If you have any questions or episode ideas, feel free to reach out to us at studiosessionsclay@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, take care, and as always, happy creating.